Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market wrap-up, your weekend edition. And this is Sunday, the 23rd of February, 2025, and the time about 6:10 p.m. Central Time. Well, as we know, on Friday, the market saw a pretty big reaction down in the stock market. Was it overdue? Yep. Did I know when it would come? Nope. Does anybody else? Nope. You just know when they come, and they can be severe. When you look at the market, you're getting a bounce off of it tonight, but that doesn't mean this is a turnaround. The daily charts did a lot of damage to them. We'll find out if the weekly did as much damage. You saw a lot of buying in the gold market on Friday as that was happening, giving up a bit of it. The dollar weakened, and it's still staying, so to speak, weak at this point in time. As we take a look at what's going on now in the energies, it's just sort of back and forth with an exception taking place in natural gas. And in natural gas, what is going on is a weakening. We have left the polar vortex. We're going to be in 50-degree areas. Take a look at your maps. You will see what I'm saying. So you're getting your corrections back from that point. Currencies are a mixed bag across the board. You saw some buying in bonds and notes on Friday as traders properly got very concerned. It's taking out the fear premium to a degree right now. So that's how I'm viewing what took place. Now, as we look at the markets, we're going to get tomorrow morning the Chicago Federal Reserve National Activity Index. That comes out at 7:30. Last month was a positive 0.15. The Dallas Federal Reserve Bank will update their monthly regional outlook for February. Last month was a positive 14.1. In Ukraine, if you saw Zelensky over the weekend, if peace can be found, he's willing to give up the presidency. If NATO would allow the Ukraine in, he's willing to give up the presidency. And he's being pressured by Elon Musk, who has threatened to turn off his Starlink if moves aren't made by him. So pressure's coming from every angle. You're going to get tomorrow, French President Macron will meet with President Trump at the White House the day after the Prime Minister of England will fly in and meet. And I think the two of them are very pro-Ukraine, and they will be trying to get the president to listen to their arguments. In Israel, more hostages were released, but suddenly Israel is the one reneging. And they were supposed to release 600 prisoners, and they haven't done so. I told you can't trust anybody in the Middle East. Israel, do what you're supposed to do at this point. Then there's massive confusion. Over last week, Elon Musk put out an email that federal employees are to have by midnight tomorrow night an email sent, and I don't know the address he gave them, but it's an address to say what they have accomplished in the last 2 weeks, and not doing so would be taken as their resignation from the government. Well, immediately, the State Department of there's just one after the other, okay? If I'm looking at the legal departments, I'm saying don't do that. Department of Justice. If I'm at the FBI, Kash Patel immediately said don't respond. It's one after the other, because in anything for national security, should they be doing that? I mean, can you imagine over an unsecure internet, they're writing, well, I followed these terrorists and I did this. Doesn't make any sense at all. So this has to, again, be rethought out. I understand what they're trying to do, just like any place else. They're trying to have employees say, what's good, where are they? Who's going to read all these emails, number one? I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of federal employees does the U.S. have? Number two, they'll just be looking for who didn't do it. It doesn't make sense. It's poorly thought out one more time. So in the rush to do things, that's it. President Trump has been eerily quiet. It's time for him to say something about that. So when we take a look at the markets, maybe we go take a look at how the weekly chart's now look. And before I do this, I want you to all listen. I'm taking 4 personal days, Monday through Thursday. I will be back with you on Friday, but I had this scheduled. I'm taking it, and so be it. So you won't be getting these updates at night. My subscribers to my regular research, well, other than the morning ETF tomorrow, I should be able to put those out for the subscribers and the written updates that I normally do. But tomorrow, no, I have to have time to get where I'm going. So As we look at the market on a monthly basis, you're down 0.26%. It felt like a lot worse on a monthly basis when you looked at Friday's action. It was just horrendous. On a weekly chart, you are up right now. Remember, it's the first day of the week, 0.36. But let's go back here and see what it was last week. And last week, you were down 1.68%. So you're making back a little, but you fell pretty hard last week, and that's the important thing to understand. Again, we have a resistance point that has showed up in the market. The market still has a pattern on the weekly charts of higher lows and higher highs. It is still in a bull mode. The support for the market comes in at 60.05, and you lose that support the moment you get under this break low. And we can come back there and let's just look at it one time so you get to see what it is. And that low is 59.35.50. Take that out and you've broken this upward pattern. Number two, that would happen under the weekly chart here. Little bit similar to what this did, if you think about it. The question is, would it stay under that 18-week average? I can't answer that because it hasn't happened. When we look at Bollinger Bands, you didn't make it up to the Bollinger Band this time when you got the correction, and momentum has turned a bit down in an overbought condition. When we look at the Dow, lower highs, lower lows, and this market's in a downtrend. It's under the 18-week average of closes. The swing line has lower highs, lower lows, and momentum is down. So at this point, this is in the downtrend. The NASDAQ is not. On a weekly chart, it's got higher lows, higher highs, and it is over the 18-week average. But here, too, momentum is turned down. Wouldn't be surprised if you make a run to the 21,371 level if it wants to break from here. And the weakest continues to be the Russell, which, as you can see, is down to recent lows, certainly in a downtrend, lower highs, lower lows, might be trying to pick off the lower Bollinger Band at the 2143.70 level. In the 5-year notes, we had a buying spree that took place. The market finished up for the week. Let's go right here. As you can see, 0.34%. It's giving back a third of that, but it's still over the 18-week average of closes. If something happens to spur this market on, the next stopping spot could be the 110.25 to 111.07 area, the upper Bollinger Band and the 100-day average. To negate the uptrend, it does not start a downtrend. You'd have to take out the break low back here. When we come to the 10-year note, it's the same pattern. Higher lows, higher highs, resistance 110.25, 111.07.5, and you'd have to take out 2 weeks ago's lows, and it would not start a downtrend. It would break the uptrend attempt. In the dollar index, I was expecting this break. If you look at the report that I have out there, you see when I put it out, why I put it out. If the market wants to continue down on a weekly basis, the target could be the 104.37 to 104.08 level. Resistance, if we rally, is now 107.08. Trend down, bias down, momentum down, everything down. Market's already got a 30 reading. Any reading under 29, nah, I wouldn't want you doing anything. In the euro, what we had was a short covering rally that carried up to the 18-week average, and this is where you're stalled at this time. So the market's got to tell us this week what it wants to do. Is it going to continue in an uptrend or not? In order to get the Canadian dollar going, I think you've got to get up here over the 70.75 level. We have a market on the weekly chart that is void of a trend. You have a lower low, higher high. The daily chart is in an uptrend, but not this one right now. In the Japanese yen, I was expecting a rally. As I've told you over and over, I am convinced that the Bank of Japan wants to raise rates again. More and more governors are coming out for that. They may wait until they see how union negotiations are going, but when you look at CPI and the other numbers, they are coming out in a favorable term for the bank to be able to raise interest rates, and that has lifted the yen into the upper Bollinger Band. It's overbought up here, and if it extends 67.89, that would be putting the market into an area where it might run out of steam here. In Bitcoin, the market did not rally with the gold market on Friday. What it did on the break was it broke and it was tying itself more to what the NASDAQ was doing. You get to see that last week as an example. The market was down 3%. Gold wasn't down anything like that. Gold was up. Now, there's a lot of talk of a commission coming out that wants to have the United States buy up to 20% of the outstanding Bitcoins that are out there. I am not saying this is getting traction under Trump, and I'm not saying it's not. It's a commission that's going to present the paper on this. We will see what happens. If the U.S. did that and the limited amount of Bitcoins out there, it would certainly be a big piece of news. I don't know that Trump himself can say do it or not. I don't know how that works. So I would think it would take Congress to do it. And there's a lot of negative people that want to do that in Congress. We'll see what happens. When you look at Brent versus WTI, the whole market's staying here. And what you look for now is OPEC making statements that there is no April production increase coming to the market. And I think that's what you're going to be looking at right now. In Russia, they are attacking. I think they did 270 drones. The all-time amount that they threw into Ukraine happened today. So Russia realizes the talk with Trump is coming up. They want to capture as much as they can. They want to keep Ukraine on the back foot here, and they go into the negotiation thinking that they've already won it because of all the pro words, including Trump saying today that if there's peace, he expects U.S. businesses will be reopening in Russia. I mean, everything is positive that he's saying because one of his goals was to end the war. The question is the terms. Ending the war is a phenomenal thing. The question at what cost to the Ukrainian people? And when you got all the marbles, which is what he thinks he has, he being Trump, he plays rough. When you look at the energies, you can see how they're slipping. Now, if you get under here now, the 74.05, and you're trading at 74.49, that could break the back of a weekly chart potentially. You'd have lower highs, then you take out that low. You do open the door up for the $70 area in Brent. You're already in the downtrend on WTI. Lower highs, lower lows, trend down. If it continues, that's a big if. 65.5 zone is a potential target if it continues. You've fallen back to neutral territory in gasoline, and that's where we'll leave it at this point in time. So I want to remind you, if you want to take a look at the report that I put out on the dollar, let's see if I can get that to come up, and there it is. It's going to cover where I think the dollar was headed. I'll share it with you now since it goes off tomorrow to the downside. Put it out 3 days ago. It's had a nice break since then. Why? Where I think it can go. Long-term, short-term, looking at seasonal charts, but 5-year, 10-year, 50-year, and price counts, giving you ideas to where the market may head. So it's time sensitive. It goes off our website tomorrow. How do you see it? You go to www.iraepstein.com. And look on the top left, it is right there for you. Again, I will not be doing these updates with you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. You'll have me back Friday. I'm Ira. Have yourself a great weekend. I'll catch up with you all next Friday.